Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. ANGELLE here, what it do? And today I'm coming at you guys with my story of being diagnosed with adenomyosis and having a hysterectomy. So if you would like to hear that story, then stay tuned. Okay. Alright you guys, so today is July 29th, 2021. I am a little over 5 months post-op from my surgery. So I had my surgery February 22nd, 2021. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about adenomyosis and what it is. I will put the definition on the screen because I'm recording on my phone and everything. So adenomyosis is like the sister or cousin to endometriosis, okay? And y'all, that white noise you hear is my air conditioner. I'm in my truck. It's hot. I had a pipe burst in my house. Construction workers, plumbers. I'm just in my truck. Forgive me, okay? So, how everything came about, you guys. I have always had heavy menstrual cycles. Heavy and painful. Extremely painful. I would faint. My legs wouldn't work. Like, for years, you know, I've always had this problem. I've been to numerous doctors. They always tell me just to deal with it. It's part of being a girl. You know, well, once you have kids, the pain will stop. It'll get better. Lies. Do you hear me? A crock of bull. That's what that was. Not true whatsoever. So, like, I've been dealing with this since teenage years. You know, like, that level of intensity, right? So, and I go for my yearly GYN appointments at the end of the year in December. So December 2019, I went for my yearly appointment. I was telling my doc, look doc, I can't no more. My cycles are extremely painful. They are messing with my quality of life because in 2019, I think I was only able to function maybe 15 days a month. Not consecutive, you know what I'm saying? 15 days out of the month I was able to get stuff done. And with my lifestyle, that doesn't work, okay? So my cycles were 7 to 10 days. I had to wear a pad and a tampon at the same time the whole time. Do you hear me? Like, no pain medicine worked. Like, your girl was miserable for years. So when I went to the doctor in 2019, I was like, look sis, I'm not having any more children. She's like, oh, you might change your mind. Girl, no, I'm not having any more children. I'm almost done with my baby. So no, I'm not having any more kids. So, you know, she's like, oh, go home and talk to your husband. He already know this. I'm not telling you anything that he does not know. So she was like, well, what we can do, because she really didn't want to, you know, give me any kind of hysterectomies or anything like that, because for whatever reason, people feel like I was going to change my mind. When I tell you something, that's what I mean, right? So she was like, well, what we can do is give you a D&C, and that should cut down on some of your bleeding and stuff, and maybe, you know, things won't be as bad. So I was like, okay, I'll go that route, right? So I also wanted to really ensure that I would not have any more children. So I got my tubes removed as well. Y'all, it's hot. It's like 100 degrees. Anyway, I'm sorry. Just drinking my favorite drink. Trader Joe's, by the way. So, yeah. So, that was in December. We set everything up. ASAP Rocky. I love my doctor, you guys. She gets things get done. Things move really, really, really quickly with her. So January something, 20th or something like that, I wind up having my my DNC and my tubal removal. Everything went fine. Everything went great. What I recommended, if you're struggling with bleeding, yeah, but for my case, no. Okay. So, and you, so I got that. It worked for maybe like 3 months. I went from wearing my pads like I was to I can either wear one or the other, the pad or the tampon. But for me, if I wore a tampon, I always needed that extra security, so I would wear a pad or a panty liner or something like that. I would never wear a tampon alone. Never. So, and I was wearing the Super Plus, and y'all, struggle, okay? So this was January 2020. I had that procedure done. Everything went well till around about May. The pain came back, y'all. The menstrual cramp pain. It came back, and I knew that the DNC and everything would not take my cramps away, but it should not have been at that level of intensity because I wasn't bleeding like that anymore. So I thought around May, y'all, it came back, and it came back with a vengeance. Do you hear me? Like, oh my God, the pain was so bad, y'all. And you know, I thought it was just like a one-time thing, but then I started noticing that happened in May, it happened in June, it happened in July, and every month it was getting worse and worse and worse, and my days of being able to function were decreasing, you guys, like dramatically, drastically. So it got to the point, y'all, where I was only able to function. This was by November of 2020, I was only able to function like 5 days out of the month. The whole month. And they were not 5 days in a row. No. I'm still a wife and I'm still a mom. I have things I have to do. Being able to function 5 days out of a month? No. I'm trying to run a business. You know, I need to clean up. I need to grocery shop. I need, you know, spend time with my husband and my family, and 5 days. No, I thank God for my husband and my baby, okay? I'm glad she's old enough to fend for herself. In a way, this pandemic was a blessing in that sense because she could go to school from home, and, you know, I didn't have to worry about that, and extracurricular activities and driving her all over the world. I didn't have to worry about any of that. So in a way, the pandemic helped me with that, okay? So the pain had got so bad, y'all. I had noticed that I was in like a deep depression, but this was like a sick depression, okay? Because it was to the point where I could not do anything, y'all. I just laid. I'm sorry, guys, my phone got hot, but like I was saying, I had gotten like a sick depression, and it got to the point where I just laid in my bed, y'all, every day, all day. I took a shower, I ate a little bit, and just laid in my bed every day, all day, because that is all I could do, and just cry and scream and call on Jesus and wait for Jesus. That's all I could do, y'all. That pain was so bad. The pain, it felt like I was being stabbed, just constantly just being stabbed, and then it's like I was being just shredded apart internally. And then around the end of November, December, it's like my sciatic nerve or something, that's how it felt. It was just radiating down the back of my leg, but just my right leg. It went from like up under my butt down to like the back of my knee, just on my right leg. Nothing I did helped, you guys. Absolutely nothing helped. Nothing worked. No pain medication, nothing the doctors gave. Nothing, right? So December came, because before that my husband was like, baby, just go to the hospital. And I was like, they keep on telling me that nothing is wrong with me, they can't find anything. What is the point? I knew I had my yearly doctor's appointment coming up in December. December came, I went to the doctor again, and I told her, I was like, look, doc, I'm barely hanging on. Do you hear me? Like, I'm barely hanging on. Like, I am miserable. My quality of life is in the toilet, because I had no life. I couldn't do anything. I said, my life is just consistent of pain, day in and day out. So she was just like, you know, we tested you for fibroids, we tested you for everything, and she's like, you don't have any of those problems. I was like, I know. I said, but it has to be something. It has to be. So she was like, oh, well, let's test you for fibroids again. And she's like, maybe you have endometriosis. And then she was like, but then again, she's like, well, there's this other thing called adenomyosis. Maybe you have that. And I was like, what is that? And, you know, she was telling me what it was and how it's like the sister or cousin to endometriosis. And she was like, but the only cure for that is a hysterectomy. And right then I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So she was like, no. You know, you're still pretty young. Da, 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 da. I was like, well, I can keep my ovaries. But, no. You know, like, I'll go the hysterectomy route. And so she was like, well, there's this doctor who does UTEs. And I'll put it on the screen what that is. And so she was like, well, you can go that way. They stick this little needle up your thigh and they go in and cauterize everything, stop the blood flow, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, is it permanent? And she was like, no, it might come back. It may come back. The pain may come back. It may not. And I was like, if I'm going to do any procedures, I need finality. I need it to be a one and done. Like, no, I'm nobody's guinea pig, okay? So, she was like, well, I still want you to go see him, at least talk to him, because he specializes in adenomyosis as well. She says it's relatively new. They've only been talking about this for maybe like the last 10 years or so. And so she was like, at least go see what he has to say. And I was like, okay, I'll appease you. So I Googled the man, of course. Before I go to anybody, I'm going to Google and Yelp you, okay? So I Googled him and everything. He had great reviews and all this stuff, right? So I called and make an appointment, and they was like, well, before you come see him, you have to go get an MRI and all this blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, but how soon can I get in, because I'm in pain? 6 weeks. And this was just for the consult. I was like, I can make an appointment with the other doctor, because the other doctor that she told me who would do my hysterectomy, she was referring me out for that as well, because when she did my tubal, she found out that I had a lot of scar tissue. You get a lot of scar tissue from any abdominal surgery, and I had my C-section, and when I had my C-section, apparently I got a lot of scar tissue from that. So she was like, it was really, really hard to see inside. So she was referring me out because I was a difficult case. And I was like, that's fine. So she referred me to this cancer doctor who also does difficult patients like myself. Because why would something be easy with me, right? So the uterine doctor, they were like 6 weeks. And I was just like, I can call the other doctor and I can have my other surgery, my hysterectomy in 6 weeks. And I know that that's, you know, a one and done. So while I was at home, in between my moments of screaming, my screaming fits, I would just Google things on my phone and look things up on YouTube and everything. And I found out that adenomyosis, you know, like it's a thing, and hysterectomy is the only cure. The only way that they can really diagnose that you have it is after you had your hysterectomy and everything. So I was like, And then I looked up the whole UTE thing, and I talked to a few friends, and they was like, you know, we've had it, or our parents have had it, and it still didn't do anything, and da 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 da. So I thought about it. I was like, why keep putting myself through these procedures? I want finality. So I talked to my husband about it. He was like, well, go and talk to the man, at least see what he got to say. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, but me, once I make up my mind about something, you're not going to change it. Not too often. So the next day, after I talked to my husband about it, I called like noon and canceled that appointment with that UTE doctor, because I was like, I'm waiting too long and I'm in pain. I cannot. Right? It was like noonish. I canceled that appointment. So around about 2 o'clock, 3, I was outside with my husband. He was cutting grass. And I was outside with my husband, and I get a call from the UTE doctor. I answered the phone. It's the doctor himself. Like, he legit called me himself. And he was like, oh, well, I was calling because I see you were trying to cancel your appointment. I told him I wasn't trying. I did. I canceled the appointment. And so he was like, well, I was trying to see if you had any questions. I was like, no. He was like, well, maybe you're scared, and anything that I can do to ease your mind from you being scared or nervous. I was like, I'm not scared. I'm not nervous. This is just not the way I want to go. So he's like, well, let me tell you about this whole procedure and blah, 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 blah. Mind you, now I have been doing my own research on this, right? UTEs are good for people who have fibroids. I don't have any, right? Keep that in mind. So I'm letting the doctor talk. And you know, he was just like, well, I know you're sick and tired of dealing with the big, massive fibroids. You know, he was like, I have your chart. And I know you're tired of dealing with the fibroids and all the heavy bleeding and not being able to wear the color white. When he said that, like, that really struck a nerve with me. Because, first of all, I don't talk to my doctors about what color clothes I wear. First of all. Next, I'm not even a white person. I wear black all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I let him go on his whole spiel. You know what I'm saying? He's just talking. Blah, 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 you know, and all of this, and I can just do this, and da 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 da. So I let him talk. He was long-winded. He talked for like a good 10 minutes. So after he finished, I said, well, thank you for calling me, but I'm going to go another route, the hysterectomy route. Well, why, man? Asked why. I said, because first of all, there's no way you're looking at my chart talking to me. He's like, what are you talking about? Isn't your name Angel? And I was like, yeah, that's me. That's my name. But you're not looking at my chart talking to me. He's like, well, what made you say that? Why did you say that? I said, because first of all, I'm not coming to you for fibroids. I don't even have them. Well, nothing to be concerned about. When I did that last ultrasound, I had 3 little baby fibroids. Nothing to, you know, go see anybody about. I said, so I'm not coming to you for fibroids. And I don't have a heavy bleeding because I had a DNC already. So what are you talking about? Whose chart are you looking at? And he was like, well, why were you coming to see me? And I said, well, it's suspected that I had adenomyosis. He was like, oh, well, I deal with that too. I said, well, that's good to know, but I'm not coming to you. Well, I just want you to maybe reconsider because hysterectomy is a big surgery. I know all of that. I don't need you preaching to the choir. First of all, you don't even know what patient you're talking to. There's no way in hell I will let you touch me. And y'all, this is a big time doctor. Celebrities go to this man. I would never recommend him. Like, based on this one phone call, y'all. Because how are you talking to me, talking about you're looking at my chart, but you're reading somebody else's stuff? That was not me. And so he was like, he was just like, well, I deal with that too. I was like, no, well, I'm going to give you time to reconsider. I said, I don't need time. I said what I said. I canceled the appointment. I'm not coming. So I finally wound up getting off the phone with that man. And do you know that man called me back 3 more times, y'all? 3 more times. I wound up having to block them. And they were emailing. That's thirsty to me. That's unprofessional. No, I would never go to a doctor like that. Like, you're going to make me come to you. The hell? No. So after I got off the phone with him, I made the appointment for the oncologist doctor, and I still wound up waiting, you know, to get everything. So I wound up having my consultation with him in like the end of January. And at first he was like, well, let's try this other medication. I was like, I don't want no medications. I'm tired of taking pills. I take pills every single day to try to deal with this pain. I need finality. So he's like, well, we can try this. No. So he's like, well, have you tried this and have you tried that? I've tried it all. He looked through my chart and seen that I have tried it all. So he was like, okay, I recommend hysterectomy. And I was like, bet. So he was like, okay, so my hysterectomy was, I still had to wait, y'all, to the end of February. And I did that. So I got scheduled for my hysterectomy. February 22nd, I had a later on in the day hysterectomy. Mine was at 2 o'clock. And but one thing he told me, he was like, well, after you have your hysterectomy, you're going home the same day. And I was like, excuse you? He's like, yeah, you don't have any complications, you're going home. And I was like, why? Most people stay in the hospital 3 days. Because people that I know who had recently had one, they were in the hospital 3 days. And he was like, yeah, but the way that I'm doing it, the robotic way, you're going home. And I was like, So, sure enough, February 22nd came. And luckily, at this time in the pandemic, I was able to have one person go with me. So my husband was able to go with me, sit in the hospital. He was able to be in the room with me before everything, right? So I had my procedure. I got there at noon. I had my procedure. Everything went well. When I woke up, so now I have notes, you guys, okay? So when I woke up, the first thing that I do remember was that I was in pain. Like, my eyes were still closed, but I do remember saying, oh, I'm in pain. So the nurse gave me some pain medicine. So after that kicked in and everything, she was telling me, you know, everything went well, and that I said, do I still have my ovaries? She was like, yeah, you still have your ovaries, and he removed your right tube. And I was like, what? I was like, I know I ain't tripping, right? I know I didn't hear her say I still had my right fallopian tube. And I was like, couldn't be, because I had that removed last year. She's like, well, that's what was in his notes and blah, blah, blah. Even though I was groggy, I heard that and I remembered that. So, they want you to walk and they want you to urinate before, you know, they let you leave. So it's like, you think you can walk? And da, 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 da. It's like, yes. I walked to the bathroom. I was able to urinate. They helped me put my clothes on. They called my husband and they kicked me out. When I saw my husband, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I got there at noon. So 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, I was going home. So it did burn to urinate. It was painful to walk, but I did it, okay? So I get home, right? Everything was fine. I wasn't really in any pain when I got home. My throat was raspy from the breathing tube, of course. So that was the first night, right? All right. So the next day, I count the next full day is like my day 2, right? So day 2, I said that my throat was a little bit less raspy. It still was burning to urinate. Later in the day, I had that gas pain in my neck and in my shoulders. So you just take you like some Gas X or something and try to burp or whatever to get that gas that they bloat your stomach up with, to get that out. And the next thing, it seemed like anytime I've had surgery, well, had to be put to sleep, when they put that tube down your throat, you always have to cough. So it was so painful to cough, you guys. Not in my throat, but in my stomach. So I suggest you get you a pillow and put it over your stomach. Even coming home from the hospital, put it over your stomach, because that ride home, bump those potholes and all that, the road. Get your pillow, okay? Put that pillow over you and cough and stuff, right? So that was my day 2. And I was on medication pretty much around the clock. So day 3, around 4 a.m., I woke up in excruciating pain. Excruciating pain. And then they sent me home in like a waist trainer, like a belly binder type thing. And I was supposed to wear that. They wanted me to wear my whole 8 weeks. I think I wore it a good 6. And I wanted, because they only gave you 1, so I wound up just ordering more on Amazon, because I can't wear something for 6 weeks without washing it and da-da-da-da. And that belly binder, it was life to me, because when I took it off, it just felt like everything on your inside just fell. Like it just helped hold everything in place, because now you have that empty space inside. So order you another belly binder off of Amazon. Okay, so with the pain and everything, it was still painful to cough and blow my nose. And like I said, the bloating had started, but the belly binder, it really helped. Okay, day 4 was an uneventful day. I was able to come outside and walk, because I had been walking, but I was just walking around my house. So day 4, I was sick and tired of being in the house. I came outside and I just walked from one street to the next street, put it like that, right? So I did that, and I walked like 10 minutes. I was just holding on to my stomach. I was walking slow with my husband and my kiddo. Got our walk in. Day 5, y'all. The bloat was still real. The gas pains were still on me, you guys. My wounds started itching. Oh my God. And you're all taped up and da, 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 you can't really scratch them. But oh my God, they start itching. Oh my goodness. And then, you don't want to just lay down all the time. So I go in the kitchen and sit, or try to sit on the sofa, sit different places. But when I sat straight up too long, my vaginal cuff, where they sew you back together at right there, that vaginal cuff pain was real when I sat up too long. And sitting up too long at that time was maybe like an hour. If I sat up straight like an hour, I couldn't do that. So I had to always make sure I leaned or reclined on something. Okay, so day 6, another uneventful day. Day 7, mind you, I'm still trying to walk now, right? So day 7, I walked further in my neighborhood outside, and it seemed like after I did that, my whole body was in pain, y'all. Whole entire body was in pain. My vaginal cuff was still hurting bad. They give you a heparin shot anytime you have surgery. That heparin shot, y'all, that thing hurts. It don't hurt right then, but it's like after, like, oh my goodness. So my arm was still sore. This is day 7 from the heparin shot. And I finally had a bowel movement. The sooner, one thing I've learned about surgery, the sooner you have a bowel movement, the better you start to feel. I learned that, okay? So I finally had a bowel movement, day 7. Day 8 was a really uneventful day. My wounds were still itching, but now I'm starting to feel dizzy. Don't really know what that's all about, but I was feeling extremely dizzy this day. So week 2, you guys, was pretty much the same as of week one, the whole week one, you know, I was walking further. Some days I'd be in pain. By week 3, that sore spot on my arm from the heparin shot was finally gone. It took to week 3 for that to stop. Right? So week 3 was pretty much the same. I was trying to do laundry. Well, not necessarily put the clothes in the wash and dry, but like fold towels, and you know, I still was not driving. My husband, thank goodness we're in a profession where we can take off work whenever we need or want. So my husband took a month off of work to help me. So, you know, that's just at home taking it easy. I was no longer on the pain medication, the heavy stuff. After the first week, I wasn't on it like that. But I still was taking those ibuprofen 800s as I needed them. And I still did need them, okay? Week 4, I started feeling nauseous every day. The whole entire week. Don't know what that was about, but I was just extremely nauseous every day. My stomach was still itching like crazy. Some of my bandages were coming off, falling off in the shower and stuff. I didn't take a shower when I came home that first night, but I took a shower that next morning when I came home from the hospital, by the way. Week 5, I was finally starting to feel better mentally, because it's still, you know, I still was in like that little sick depression because I still was at home. I still couldn't do nothing. I still was in pain. I felt as if though I could do something, but when I started doing it, my body was like, no ma'am, sit down somewhere. My husband and my baby had to keep telling me to sit down. You just had major surgery, sit down somewhere. Week 5, I was able to drive. I didn't drive far, but I was able to drive. Week 5, okay, and by the end of week 5, y'all, because my bed, I have a high bed, so getting out of my bed wasn't a problem, because, you know, I just swing my legs around, slide down, get out of my bed. Getting in the bed in the beginning, that took like an act of Congress or something. Like, no, that was so painful. And I couldn't sleep in my guest bedroom. That just wasn't working. I couldn't get comfortable on my sofa, so I had to buy a reclining chair. And that's where I slept, y'all, for 7 weeks. In my living room, in the reclining chair. So, that's how that went. By week 6, I was able to get back in my bed, but I couldn't get comfortable to sleep. But I was able to get in my bed if I wanted to. Like, you know, you just want to change the scene. I just want to get in my bed and look at TV. So I was able to get in and out of my bed fine by week 6. Week 7, I really was back, like, feeling by myself. My scars were healing. And yeah, so by the time I went back for my post-op appointment in week 6, I still was in my belly binder. He's told me to still continue to wear that should I needed it, and I did. Sorry, y'all, phone's hot again. But yeah, I still did need my belly binder. I wore that for a good 8, maybe 9 weeks. I continued to wear my belly binder. But now, you guys, like I said, it's been 5 months. I feel great. That pain, after I had surgery, I didn't have that pain anymore. All I was dealing with was the pain from having surgery. I have not had that sciatic nerve pain, that stabbing, that like shredding pain. None of that. It all went away. At my 6-week appointment, you know, you go to the doctor and they talk about everything. So come to find out about my tubes, because I waited to hear that from him, but with the hospital that I went to, they put everything online, so I had already knew, because I had already read it. But when I had my surgery in 2020, You know, because I had all that scar tissue and I was a difficult case. She left just a little bitty piece of my right fallopian tube in. So for whatever reason, he had to put it down in his notes that he removed my right tube, even though it was just a little bitty piece left from my previous surgery. The scars, you guys, it left a lot of scars. I got the robotic one with the 5 holes. My surgery in 2020, you can't see any of those. My C-section scar, you can barely see that. But this one, you guys, all the scars on my stomach. And I'm so self-conscious about it, you guys. Like, they are there. They are prominent. You can see them. I don't ever think they're leaving. All I can do is put Moderna and cocoa butter on them. They're there. They bother me. But, hey, guess what? I'm not in pain anymore. Just wear a longer shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is that. Would I recommend this surgery? Yes. So you don't have to feel that pain anymore? Yes. But just because it worked for me might not mean that it's going to work for you. Because like I said, I was done having children. You might not be. You know what I'm saying? So, the thing about adenomyosis, that pain is real. It is real, you guys. And when it comes to that period pain, if that doctor tell you no, nothing's wrong, toughen up, deal with it, find you another doctor. If that doctor says some crazy stuff, find you another doctor. I'm so thankful and blessed that I was finally able to find a doctor who listened to me. She could see the pain and the agony in my face. And I'm so glad that she kept up with her training and knowledge and stuff. And she knew about adenomyosis, because at my post-op, you know, well, I had already knew, but he did confirm that I did have adenomyosis. So, y'all, it's a pain like no other. It's a physical and it is a mental pain, because your life is non-existent pretty much. Like, you're down in the dumps and you are down bad, okay? So, ask your doctors about this. Everything is not fibroids, because it seems like they always assume that every woman has fibroids. Fibroids is not always the answer. Endometriosis is not always the answer. It's always something, you guys. Somebody somewhere know what's going on, okay? So if you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the description box. Leave them down below. And I will answer as many questions as I can, you guys. I don't think I left out anything. I don't think I did. Yeah. So that was my story. That is why I wound up having a hysterectomy. That's how I found out I had adenomyosis. And yeah, I love you guys so very much for watching. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.